Hey guys, I'm Glitter Valkyrie, and today we're going to pull in the new Heroes and Mythic Heiðr banner. Heiðr's actually my favorite of all the OCs from this book, and so I am happy that she is finally here. And we will talk about her and all the characters on the banner as we pull, but let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so our plan for today is going to be to pull every green that we see, except we obviously won't always have that choice. But I also want to pull every red. And as I said, Heiðr is my favorite of the Fae OCs from this book, even though I have to be honest, it's like completely gone off the rails with the story. I have no idea what's going on at this point, but Heiðr was my favorite as soon as I saw her, and I'm really happy that she is finally here. And so if we get to 40 with nothing, of course we have to take her, but I'd also really love to get Fear too. I think that she was an amazing choice for an Ascended character. I think that it's so nice that they gave her her mom's outfit. I think it was a super nice touch, and I also think she's going to be very, very strong. And so I would love to get her and Heiðr as well. And then as for the other characters on the banner, I feel a little bit bad saying this, but I really don't have much interest in pulling them. And it's not because I dislike the characters or that I don't think they're good choices. I do think that these are characters that totally fit. But it's really, for me, more of an issue of the game that they come from. And Binding Blade is just very a middle-of-the-road game for me. Like, it's definitely not my favorite, but it's not my least favorite by any means. It's just very middle-of-the-road. And there are some characters that I absolutely adore from that game, like Klein and Clarine and Lilina. There are really a lot that I very much enjoy, but there are also a lot that I just don't have a ton of connection to. And so, while I think that they were great choices, I want Fear and I want Heiðr. But I will say I'm very, very, very happy that they chose Murdoch as the GHB because he's a very interesting and compelling sort of villain. And I feel like he is an excellent choice, and I'm very, very happy that he's finally here. And so those are kind of my overall thoughts on the banner. I don't have too much to say. So I think that we can go ahead and answer viewer questions. And as always, if I did not get to yours, I'm really sorry. I will try to do it in a future one. And if you think of a question you want to ask me, just leave it in the comments with #question, and I will be sure to put your question on my list. And so the first question that we have today was actually asked by several different people. So this comes from Natsu Dragneel and Lirene, Joshua Batar, Starflame34, Snakeinsons, and Modern Berserker. And if I left anybody else out, I am very, very sorry. And they all asked about my favorite characters from Honkai Star Rail and who I am planning on pulling for. Okay, so my favorite character in the game by far is Gepard. He is the #1 husbando. As soon as I met him, I instantly fell in love. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy to see Heiðr. That art's amazing. And we get a blessing. Let's check IVs. And she is plus res minus defense. I am so happy with that. I'm just happy to have her. And so I still think we should pull every green that we see just because I feel like there's so much value there, but I am just so happy. And so getting back to this super lucky question from everybody, I was saying that Gepard is my favorite character by far. He is the #1 husbando. I loved him instantly. And I'm also happy to share that I finally have him. And he's just like totally game changing. He makes the game so comfortable just with his very, very tanky shields. And I'm just so happy to have him. So he is my favorite character. And that if I have to pick probably my second favorite, it's probably Branya. I just love her story. I love her design. I think she's super fun to use. And so she's my second favorite. And as for some other characters that I really enjoy, I love Himeko, even though I don't have her. I really like Serval. And another character that kind of took me by surprise was Jing Yuan. And I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that I kind of pulled for him just to see what I would get in hopes that I would kind of get Gepard because I didn't have him at the time. And actually, Jing Yuan came home first. But I think that he is a super fun character to play. I think that Lightning Lord is so satisfying. And I think that his voice work is some of the best in the game. Like, I could listen to it all day. It's so well done. And so, yes, I think that those are probably my favorites overall right now. And as for characters that I'm planning on pulling for, I think the next one coming up is going to be Lacha. Partly because I really love his design. He actually reminds me of Lucius in Fire Emblem, but like in space. So yeah, I really want to get him just because he's a healer, he's imaginary, I like his design. And then as for some other characters, I might be pulling for Blade, but I'm not 100% sure. And I definitely want to pull for Gepard and Serval's sibling whenever she comes out. But thank you so much, everybody, for that very, very lucky question. And I actually did have a couple of bonus questions from a few people. So this first bonus was from Snake and Sons, and they asked, what are your thoughts on the main party in Honkai Star Rail? So I'm not sure who like technically qualifies as main party, but definitely I would say that like the MC would. And as for the MC, I have so much regret that I did not go with the male one because I much prefer that design and the voice work. And now I'm kind of stuck with the decision that I made. And it's really fine. Like the female MC is fine, but I much prefer the male one. So that's kind of how I feel about the MC. But as for some of the, oh my goodness, oh my gosh, that is Byleth. You know what? That is an amazing 4-star special. Okay, let's check IVs. And he is neutral, but that is also Ruptured Sky, so I am so happy. But getting back to this very lucky bonus question, I was saying that the MC is pretty okay. And then as for March 7th, I think she is adorable. I think that her design is great. And I think that she has so much utility, especially if you don't have Japard. She also works like super great with Clara, which is really nice. So I think that she's a really good character. And as for Dan Heng, I like his design. He was a character that, like, as soon as I saw him, I thought he was going to be amazing. And then, you know, I experienced the rest and I didn't love it quite as much, but I think that his design is great. And, you know, I'm not sure if characters like Himeko and Welt count too, but as I said, I really like Himeko. I didn't really have much of an opinion on Welt. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel. But thank you for that very lucky question. And let's go ahead and answer our next bonus. And this comes from Joshua Bitar. And they ask, what do you think of the last Nahida mission in Genshin Impact with a pep? So I think that this latest mission was just as good as every previous one we've had with Nahida, just because she's the most amazing character. I think that it just builds on the fact that she is so selfless, like she is willing to turn herself into a twig for the greater good, and I just love her so much. I think the writing was really good. I loved learning more about those dragons, and so I think it was a great mission. So yeah, very happy with it. But thank you. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm always happy to see more Sacred Stones characters. Okay, let's check IVs. And she's plus attack. That's amazing. I'm super happy with that. And we will just keep going. And thank you so much for that very lucky question. And so our next bonus today comes from Starflame. And they asked, what was your initial reaction with Sather asking the summoner to have a baby? And how do you feel about book 7 so far? So I will say that that was the moment in book 7 where I think that the story totally went off the rails and I jumped ship. I just think it's so weird and unnecessary. And, you know, I feel like I'm someone who's fairly tolerant of like fan servicey things just because, you know, I feel like it's kind of expected in these games. I know I'm not the target audience, but I just feel like this is just a little bit too much. It's super weird and I don't like it. But with all that said, I think that the designs are amazing in this book, and I think that Heiðr looks really good. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. But thank you for that great question. And let's go ahead and answer our next one. And this was actually asked by 2 different people. This comes from the Miss NC and Anetta's Best Girl. And they both asked about my thoughts on Hortensia. So I will say that she is not my favorite character, but when I say that a character from Engage is not my favorite, it's like nowhere near on the level of other games where I dislike characters. So I could say that I dislike Hortensia, and it's a little bit true, but it's still nowhere near like a level of the dislike that I have for some other characters like, I don't know, like Surtur or like Makalov, like nowhere near anything like that. I will say that she had some moments that were nice, and there were moments with her relationship with Ivy where I almost liked her. But then she'd be super like high pitched and annoying, and she'd be like, Elusia, and it really got on my nerves. And so I also didn't like that she has like a clown motif because I just don't really like clowns. And so for all those reasons, she just was not my favorite character. But I see why people think she has redeeming qualities and they like her. But I also see why people find her annoying. But thank you for that great question. Okay, please be fair. Okay, 3-star. And we get Seleth. Okay, so we'll go ahead and back out and we will just keep going. And the next question that we have today comes from Depressed House Husband. And they ask, how are you feeling about Honkai Star Rail so far? So the characters, story, music, etc. So I have had so much fun with the game. Like, I cannot recommend it enough. But I am somebody who really loves like turn-based games, and I love that I could put a game down and come back to it, because I can't really do that with Genshin. And so I think that it's super fun gameplay-wise, and I also really love a lot of the characters too, like I kind of talked about before. So those are kind of the high points for me with the game, but I definitely do have some gripes with it as well. One of the things being the music. I cannot stand the music outside of like the theme when you like log in. I thought that the whole game was going to kind of be like that because it's very reminiscent of Genshin, very orchestral, and I really like it. But the rest of the game is not like that. The music really gets on my nerves. Most of the time I have it on silent. So unfortunately I don't enjoy the music. And as for the story, I feel like it's just kind of meh. There are some parts that are interesting, but still not on the level of Genshin for me. And as for like some other gripes with the game, I don't like the MC as much as like Aether and Lumi, and I feel like they're kind of soulless in comparison. And the other like little thing that bothers me, I know it's stupid, but but when you're doing an alt on a character, they only have like one line that they say, and if they like recorded maybe 2 or 3 different lines, it would really change it up because it gets so repetitive over and over and over again. And so I think that those are like a couple little things, but overall it's been an amazing experience. But thank you for that great question. Okay, hopefully this is Heather. Okay, 3-star. And we get a Sheena. Okay, so I know it's silly, but we have to back out. We have to try like one more time for fear. Or Heather. I'd be equally happy with that too. Okay, 3-star, never mind. We end with a Bowie. And so we're at our 40s, so we can back out and we can go ahead and spark. And of course, we're going to take fear. And I'm pretty sure that her name is pronounced Fur, but it's been fear in my head for so many years, so I apologize. Oh my gosh. I love that she has her mom's outfit. It's just such a nice touch. And we get the thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end things here. I got everything on my wish list, and I'm so happy with how this went. And if you were pulling on this banner, I truly hope you get everything that you are looking for. I also want to say a huge thank you to everybody that took the time to submit questions. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to do that. So thank you so, so much. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.